Hi, uh, this will be a series of lectures or discussion on a generic topic which is called optimization in engineering modeling. So, here, uh, because this will be a series of lectures, so probably this being the first one, we would like to address the relevance of uh, studying this problem in the first class. So, just to give you a flavor or the adequate amount of motivation, uh, so as to why this subject is worth pursuing. So, at the end of this lecture, I expect you to have to grow some appreciation about what we are doing or what you are about to do, and how, or rather, its relevance in solving real world problems, because this subject is something which is in use in real world problems. In fact, we will get to know in some of the coming lectures that one of the techniques why this was or rather one of the reasons why this technique was necessary for development was a very intriguing or involving real world problem, which is what is called oil well exploration. So just to give you a flavor of that, imagine a problem that this is some region or some terrain space. It, so it can be either a land mass, it can be an island, for example, or it can be some region in an ocean. Now, you are a mining engineer and you have been employed by some really top notch oil industry or to sort of pin down to the right, or you have been assigned two jobs. One is to make sure that okay, they have acquired this new land, uh, and they want you to tell them whether they should expect uh, some formidable amount of oil in this region. Number two is whether it will be economical for them at all. Number three is what should be the optimum point where they should start drilling to make sure that their profit is maximized. So, what do you have at your disposal is, let us say, this is the surface of the either the ocean, or this is the surface of the island, and then this is what the depth profile down below looks like. And let us assume that somewhere, or you have some hard rocky mass here, and somewhere here you could be having oil. This could be oil. Now you have to tell them what should be the most optimum position for drilling so as to maximize profit. When I say maximize profit, you have got from the surface you can see. If I tell them okay, start drilling from this point, you see they have to cover this much amount of, or they have to dig into this much amount of solid rock, or worst case maybe a granite bed. This is going to incur cost. They have to use heavy machinery to dig out a hole through this one before reaching onto oil. Whereas if I tell them, okay, maybe you can do it here, because in this location somewhere here you have the least thickness of hard granite uh, rocky structure, so probably it will be easy. And assuming this is either soft soil or this is just ocean, all you have to do is just dig into this portion. So, and you see, this is one optimal. This is a single most optimum position, whereas this is the least optimum one. and then everything else is kind of suboptimal. When I say suboptimal, it is okay somewhere between the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. This is one possibility. You could be having something else like here the thickness of the granite sheet is something like say 10 meters. Just an example. It's a very wild sort of example, just to give you a flavor of what is going on. Now you could be having this 10 meter of thick granite sheet could be in multiple locations. So now in that case, if you are able to let us for example the terrain looks something like this. Here also you have got some this similar kind of sweet spot here. So you can also do this thing. Now the thing is, see, now imagine or consider this that the purpose is to maximize profit. Now here you see the depth of the ocean is, well, let us assume it is like 100 meters, whereas here you see this could be somewhere here, or instead of here let us assume that this is here, this is somewhere here, so that the depth in this case is 60 meters. Then your piping cost is going to be less if you are digging here, and which will be higher here. So now the thing is, how should I distinguish between these two things, or how, on what basis I am going to make a distinction? Now here you see, if I am only concerned about, or let us say I have a measuring instrument, a sort of ultrasonic or something, which kind of gives me a fee or a depth estimation of what is the thickness of the granite solid that I have here, and I simply go on mapping, and just as a wild guess I start off with this thing. Okay, wherever it is the least, just start digging there. This could be one way to go. But then so so that will be an optimal solution for a problem in which I am looking for only this part, only the depth at which, just give me the depth or give me that location where the depth of granite is least. My piping cost is negligible. So irrespective of how long the pipe is, the cost of digging into granite is much higher. So all I am concerned about is where it is. Just give me that spot where this region or the thickness of the granite is the minimum. I can live with any kind of piping, fine. But let us say, as I said, we have got two locations. In one, the thickness of the granite is 10 meters, so you are basically required to dig 10 meters into this granite block but it is at a depth of 100 meters, so you are going to require a piping of length 100 meters. Okay, so this is depth of granite and this is length of piping, fine. Then in a second location, say here, our depth was 60 meters, and just to give it a real competition, assume that this length of the granite is 15 meters. So we have got 2 points. So you understand where we are moving. So from one objective function we are now at two objective functions. So this is now this is also a formidable problem if we assume that okay, the cost of digging into granite is, let us say, comparable to the cost of piping, because you require some sort of special pipe, let us assume, or some combination, so that this figure, which was earlier insignificant compared to this, now starts appearing while we are supposed to make a decision between these things. Or else, let us say so because I could add one more objective function, I could add three more. So let us say you have some coral nearby, So you do not want to disturb that. Environmental reasons. Then you have got ocean currents. Then many reasons. So you could have a set of these objective functions based on which you want to evaluate the suitability of uh, points within this bounded region, and you wish to find the point or a set of points for which this set of objective functions have the best value for you to start digging. This is the whole problem. Now, you could have the best case is you just have a single point. So all you have to do is look for one point. Then you could have multiple such points which have more or less the similar kind of values for these objective functions, and they are competitive. I mean, for you, essentially, there will be 4 specific locations where you can start digging. So this is what a real world scenario looks like. In fact, this was the one of the reasons or one of the techniques developed for optimization engineering modeling is called kriging, and this name has come from one of the engineers who had to solve this kind of problem, oil exploration problem. So this is where the so from the description you want to understand that when we have real world problems in hand and you have absolutely no idea about the functional relationship, that means that I have a set of say I have a set of inputs. What I call inputs is this depth map and this thing, but from these discrete measurements I cannot or I am not able to find out a predictable pattern, a simple functional predictable pattern between my input set that can map onto what sort of output I am expecting. So these are all so this is typical of real world problems. So when that happens, I need a technique to find me the best solution or the optimum solution. What I call the optimum is the best for me. Another sort of approach or another reason here is another motivation, I should say. Another motivation is that sometimes. So what we essentially discussed in this part is you have some set of inputs, you have some outputs which is being produced by some process which is kind of like a black box to you. You do not know what the exact functional relationship between input and output is, and so all you have is a set of inputs which produce a set of outputs. Now based on this you want to find the set of inputs that gives you the best output based on some criteria that you decide, which you call the objective function. Based on the output. So this is what the problem is. Now here one thing is I can let us say this problem is at hand. Now I will tell you another constraint. Another constraint is now to find this mapping between input and output. One obvious assumption could be I'll just simply have a list of some large number of some 10,000 or 1 lakh input sets for which I have an output. I make a very large input output set, and from that I can use some function approximation techniques to kind of give me a wild guess about what this function could be, and based on that, uh, maybe I can find my objective function, or I can have an estimate for the objective function. Fine. But then there are some kind of problems which are called this process of obtaining output from the input. This can be expensive for some processes, some inputs, or some models. For example, this oil exploration problem. You cannot wildly just go around the land and ask them to, okay, start digging in this point. I want to see what is going on, or maybe just even this measurement part. Let us assume this is a very huge equipment, your measuring device, which is kind of loaded onto a crane or something, which you need manpower, you need cost to move it from point A to point B. So you cannot simply just raster around the space and have an estimate of the depth, have a depth estimation just like that from any point. When moving from point A to point B, or let us say probing at a point incurs cost, and remember our objective was to maximize profit. So under these circumstances, each probing, so assume that each probing, if it costs, if that is an expensive process, then you also want to minimize the set of input output sets that you generate, or your sample points. So now with this new constraint, so any limiting factor for me is called a constraint. So with this new constraint, your objective or your aim becomes, find me a functional relationship between output and the input with the minimum possible number of probings. When I say probing, it is basically a sampling, and from that estimate the best input set that gives me the best output as per my criteria. This is what we are looking for when we intend to do this thing. So you can have a lot of problems where we want to solve it. You can have very complex things. For example, my own personal thing that I work on, it is like some design of some kind of electromagnetic systems, so that the electric or magnetic fields that they produce, they interact with a beam of electrons. I want these forces to sort of do things to this electron beam, to maybe bend them in a desired along a desired trajectory, or in the process I want the beam cross section to have some particular characteristics. Let us say I want to focus this electron beam onto some location here, which has a small spot size. Many things. But and although I can have a sort of rigorous theoretical treatment to this problem, but let us say I do not want to go into the complexity of the problem. So for me, this is my device. I have a set of inputs for the device, or initialization parameters. Now this generates some output, some electron beam of a given profile, so that is essentially my output. And I assume that this is kind of like a black box to me. So if I have, so this is a scenario which exactly matches the thing here in the oil exploration problem. So here also I want some characteristics of the output, some desired characteristics in the output, and I want to trace back that what sort of inputs gave me these outputs which look great to me. So I want to preserve those inputs, and let us say these inputs go into my design, or maybe these could be my design parameters. So if these are the design parameters, I preserve them, saying that okay, this is the optimum design for this device. So this is what I want to do, and assume that because this how I work out this thing, the interaction of the electron beam with electromagnetic fields is by using some finite element method based simulation. So let us say this requires an expensive simulation which takes let us assume some 2 hours or 3 hours. I do not want to waste time in randomly simulating at a large number of points, because in that case I am losing time. It takes a lot of time. I do not have that. So I want to intelligently model or intelligently find out points, a few points where where I am required to actually run this program. So I am minimizing time, and with minimum effort or minimum cost. So cost is a generic term which is indicative of this implies effort. So with minimum cost, how should I and develop this mapping, or rather in a more generic sense, how should I find out this f optimum output? So this is all that we'll be dealing with in while discussing this problem of engineering modeling. Now this is used in case of applications. This is used in a lot of applications in physical engineering modeling, and they can be they can be from like they can be from diverse fields in engineering. Let us say in mechanical engineering. So it is like this. Let us say you have a sort of, these are the profiles of the teeth in some gear. Now because say normally we have these things are standardized, but let us say I want for a very specific application, I want to optimize the design or this profile of the teeth, is to make sure that some for my specific application, so that it delivers the best output for my application. So this can be one thing. Then you can have more complex thing. Let us say optimization of turbine design. That can be one application. Or what should these fins look like? Then you have got turbo engines. How to optimize that? Apart from that, you have things like heat exchanger. So what should be the geometrical design of some apparatus or some heat exchanger components, to make sure that the heat dissipation is maximized, or heat transfer is maximized, subject to certain constraints. Let us say dimensions is one constraint. I want this I want this heat exchanger to be only this small, but then it has to say in this size constraint maximize this thing. Or maybe sometimes you can have material constraint. Let us say for just as a wild example, copper is supposed to give you the best heat transfer coefficient, but then for some application they say no, you cannot use copper, you have to use stainless steel, or you have to use something else. With that, maximize the performance. So these things become, or these are called constraints. So whatever we are dealing with here are called constrained optimizations. your basic. So before we just wind up, so functionally this will look like I'm looking for some y which is like and find the set of or find the set of inputs, say xi, for which this function, some given function, yields the highest value. Now I said argmin here, so when I say argmin means find the set of xi which minimizes f. You can also have argmax. This is like maximize. So it is like this, that given a function, I can if I am looking for minimum or something, I can translate that same thing into a maximization problem also. Let us say in this case, in the oil exploration case, let us say we were minimizing cost. We were supposed to minimize cost, and let us say cost is represented by the variable c. So how do I translate it into a maximization problem? Is, let us say, just as an example, this is I call it a new variable, say c dash, which I say 1 upon epsilon plus c, and instead of saying minimize cost, I can say maximize c dash. So a minimization problem can be converted into a maximization problem. Here you see, the moment c goes to, so assume that because cost cannot take non-zero values, we'll assume for this problem, you will have the maximum value of when c takes a value of 0, say which is for our purpose the minimum possible. Then this function c dash will take a value of 1 upon epsilon. For anything, any other value of c, that thing is going to be or that c dash is always going to be less than equal to 1 upon f1 or 1 by epsilon. So this is how you convert. So if c is anything above 0, you are going to get a value which is less than this one. So this is how you convert a minimization problem into a maximization problem. So what we are looking for is we have a certain set of inputs which are xi in this expression, which are generating some output, and this is, as I understand, this is what the functional relationship actually is, which I might or might not be able to accurately estimate, but for some purpose I need when I say accurately estimate, no, accurately determine. Determination is exactly finding the actual value, but estimation is trying to figure out something close to what your actual value is. So here this f hat is something which I am trying to estimate, just or my best estimation for what the actual functional relationship is, which could be f. So the thing is, to the extent I understand, if this is the functional relationship, then find the set of inputs xi for which this output yi is maximum or minimum. It can be anything. Now here another thing is subject to conditions ci. That means you have a set of constraints that say for example say for example you have a set of uh, inputs that you see, or that you imagine, you can take only from within this cube. So you say my my xi's can only belong to this region, this volume V. So all your points will only be from points inside this volume V. This becomes one of your constraints. So constraint is basically defining, or from arbitrary values you are sort of defining the volumes. You are bringing down the volume or the set to which the input values can belong to. So these are a set of points. Let us say another thing could be that for some application your you can have something like xi, or sum of xi has to be less than equal to some other parameter, say k. This becomes another input or the another constraint. So similarly, for different applications you can have different constraints. So like I was talking about my own problem here, about charged particle in electromagnetic fields. Now here my constraint could be, say, dimension of the coils, the dimension of some solenoids that I have, or the current that I can feed, the maximum current that I can feed into one of these. So these are my constraints. So as a generalization of what an optimization problem is, one can say that it is all about finding from an estimated function relationship between input and output, finding a maximum or a minimum of the output and the corresponding input set for that desired output, subject to some conditions, a set of conditions Ci. So this is all that we are going to do, and in each of these terms we will have different aspects which we will be dealing with. For example, function estimation, this is an important part. Although I would state it straight away in the beginning, accurately finding the function might not be one of our objectives. We can live with the fact that this is a black box function. We will have some approximation, but we might not devote dedicated efforts into exactly finding the functional form, or the understanding the functional relationship between input and the output, but yet still we would look for the desired output. All we are concerned about is this output. We have a certain set of say this input is generating some output. We have some certain criteria. All we want is just give me the set of inputs that gives me the best result evaluated on the basis of this criteria. That's it. We are not concerned specifically about understanding the functional relationship between the input and output for our problems. Yet in the process of finding this, we might want to have an estimate of what this function looks like. And in these set of, or these kind of problems where you would desire to have this functional relationship between input and output, one of those class of problems is called what is called surrogate model based optimization, which we will be dealing with in all our upcoming lectures. So this is to with this we will wind up this first part of the series of lectures. In the subsequent part we will focus more on the surrogate modeling part of optimization and a little bit of depth, or we'll start opening up into what this problem is like.